Welcome to Watch Out for AGI podcast, your go-to podcast for the latest in AI. We dive into cutting-edge models, news, and products with insights from developers and creators worldwide. AI evolves fast, and we are here to keep you informed. So whether you're coding, building, or just curious about AI, stick with us to stay ahead of the game. This is Watch Out for AGI. Let's get into it. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to a new episode of Watch Out for AGI. It is mid-May. We have gone from nothing at all to one of the most packed weeks we've had since we started the pod. I was just looking at the list. Emmerich was telling me, I think we have enough. How are we going to fit all this stuff into the episode? And last week we went over some... we gave publicity to some products that have weird names.
We're trying to push small software vendors.
Small business.
SMBs.
This week is a massive week in AI, and I can't wait to get started. I'm here with my co-host, Emmerich. Emmerich and I have been on this AI trend for the last 6 months. We've been coming out with a podcast every week to go over the latest in AI news, in models, AI agents, businesses getting acquired. We have done an interview with a solopreneur, which I really recommend to listen to, with Matt Hickman from the Flickman Media. And we are going to bring on some more in the future. That said, we should get right into AI news. This one's going to be packed. Let's get started with the first big drop. I saw this one last week. It's something that has existed for a while, and now it's coming up. OpenAI's Codex launched a research preview. If you guys don't know what Codex is, it's an AI coding agent integrated into ChatGPT.
Wasn't there a debate that there's a bunch of products called Codex?
Codex, I watched their video. They launched in 2021. So
I think so, yeah. I heard of it before.
It's an effort that they've been working on for the last 4 years. And so that was before GPT came out even, right?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're talking about 2021, yes, of course.
Now, I guess we're getting our first OpenAI coding agent. This news comes right after the acquisition of Windsurf, which is a coding agentic application, if you want to call it that way. OpenAI's codec handles software engineering tasks like bug fixing, code generation, replicating a developer's environment. It's available to pro members, enterprise, and team users, with Plus and Edu support planned. That means that if you get the enterprise and a team, you would be able to access that. Team is not even that premium. I think you can get a team for $25 per seat, making the Plus version, which is only $20, accessing this feature. That's a bit weird in terms of, I guess they just want to segment. They don't want everybody to jump on this one at the same time. It's designed to experienced developers. It's designed for experienced developers to delegate simpler tasks through manual code review is required. They're using the O4 Mini for this as well.
Have you seen the demo?
I watched the demo. It was a long one. It was quite interesting. This is through command line. You don't have an IDE here. You're literally sending prompts into the world and watching your code base.
Actually, I want here to correct you. I know it's confusing, but they started to release something called Codex that was exactly what you mentioned. So Claude also has Claude Code. It's like a CLI, and then it just creates your website, etc. OpenAI also has Codex. It's the same. It's a CLI. It creates your stuff. This Codex is different. This Codex is actually present in a UI interface, and you can work and see what is happening in direct live. So you're basically coding in your IDE, and it automatically generates your app. So it's not necessarily the same product as the previous Codex. It's actually something slightly better. And as you said, it comes really with the moment they acquired Windsurf. I don't know if it's like related, but it's confusing because it's not the CLI anymore. It's like a CLI, but in a UI app that you can control. I don't know. And as you said, it's only available for the Teams members. So for now, I wasn't able to use it. It looks promising, but I wonder if it will actually find any product market fit.
That's why they're struggling to grasp users and why they purchased Windsurf at such a high price tag, because if they want to merge one day both worlds, they will have the users. I'm looking at the price of this. We're looking at $1.50, $1.5 for 1 million input tokens and $6 for 1 million output tokens, which is reasonable if you compare to other models like Claude Sonnet, which is around the $15 price point. Microsoft has dropped an agent called GitHub Copilot AI agent. It's upgraded into a full AI coding agent. It autonomously fixes bugs, adds features, and improves documentation. It operates by booting a virtual machine, cloning repositories, and analyzing code bases, saving changes with session logs for developer review. It was announced recently during the Microsoft Build 2025, and it emphasizes security with existing branch protections.
Wait, what is the name of the product? I don't know this one.
Copilot AI.
I see, okay. And you
What
say
we're
that
seeing
basically
here is that the trend is to get to full agentic coding, and everybody's jumping on this. At least in this month, all of the releases have been in this month for these coding efforts.
I mean, if you want my opinion, it's really related to the MCP becoming mainstream. So right now, by just adding one line of code, you can connect your LLM to hundreds of tools. If you connect correctly your LLMs to different tools, it can become like independent really fast. So it makes sense that every company, I'm waiting for the service now, coding agent now. This is like all the companies are creating something like this now.
It's funny you mentioned part of our news. It is exactly this. The MCP, the Model Context Protocol, what we call it MCP here, is now supported by Microsoft. This joins Anthropic and other model providers who have decided that MCP is the standard for accessing tools. So that's a trend where we're going to see a lot of MCP servers popping up, I think, for many different goals. And I think that you will need to, if you want to excel in agentic coding or agentic anything at all, you would need to look into what an HCP.
I'm thinking because I learned this recently. We are both using Cursor. And Cursor is interesting because it's good, the agent is good, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if you knew, but you can actually you can add MCPs to your agent. Like, let's say right now, your agent will create components, but they will create components like, let's say, Tailwind components by their memory. Like, they will use their memory of if you use Claude 3.7, it will be good enough, etc., blah, blah, blah. But I don't know if you know, but you can install an MCP in your Cursor. And the moment you want to ask to create a React component of anything, it will use a MCP instead of using a classic LLM. Have you done this before?
I haven't. I'm very embarrassed to say that I'm late on the MCP usage.
No, I can actually learn to you, but I didn't know. But I have an example. It's called Magic UI, and Magic UI is exactly what I said to you. It's a library of components, and you basically can install the MCP. You just run in your terminal in Cursor npm command, and it will automatically install the MCP. The MCP will be added to the list of what the agent is able to use. And when the agent will understand that he needs to use it, he will use it. So you can extend your Cursor by just running some commands. Also, you will tell me, how does the agent knows if he can use the MCP or not? It's not really great, but you can also force the agent to use the MCP. Like, you can ask the agent specifically, when you create your component, use this MCP.
This is present in Cursor. I've seen it where you do @ MCP server. You can tag an MCP server in your prompt.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think that we talk a lot on that podcast about Cursor, about Windsurf. We're going to talk about Windsurf. But there is another one that is actually getting some traction. It's Klein. Have you heard of Klein?
No, I'm not really familiar. Go ahead.
So Klein has, when you have another tab, because they fucking forked Visual Studio Code, so it's another tab of Visual Studio Code, and you have a tab that is Marketplace, and you can look at the marketplace of MCPs. And so let's say you find your agent a bit weak into something, you can actually look in the marketplace and connect immediately to Klein and add a little bit like you would add an extension in Visual Studio Code. So it's actually really exciting right now how we can extend the agent by just clicking a button. Like you can make your agent way more smarter in 2 seconds.
I think that this is the point where I decide to install a few MCP servers and check out what there is. I have looked at a few of them already on GitHub, never installed, didn't really understand how to install it. It feels like voodoo. As a developer myself, don't really understand the word server, the word, install a server. Doesn't make too much sense. But I hope that everybody here who listened understands how easy it is with NPM to install these extensions, these actions that your agent can start talking to. And the thing is that when it started, not all the models had access to these MCP servers. But like I said before, now we're looking at OpenAI, Anthropic. Does Google connect to MCP?
Of course.
So already your top 3 are connecting to MCP servers. And we just announced that Microsoft will connect as well. So it's the standard. And if things are easy to install via NPM, why not try it out? But you know what? Maybe it will make things better, but you also need to check. Maybe it will make things more dumb as well. You have to see the quality of
course.
what it is accessing. I wouldn't take any MCP server for a ride. I would really look at what is the quality behind who developed this thing. Are there any security issues that could arise from this?
I mean, all the companies except in our company we're working on this. At Google we're working on this. This is a massive problem. Like you can prompt inject the agent to make like garbage in the server of a company. Of course, there is a lot of security issues. I think we're going to get there. We're going to fix the security issue. It won't be a problem for too long. No, and I wanted just to add some analogy. If you think we were in the last 5-10 years on the web, we were like using platforms. Let's say we were using Facebook or Instagram to find content. We were also using Google to find content. And I think now, so we were finding content, let's say we find a website. From Instagram, you are advertised and you find a website. And I think now the website going to go down and the MCP is going to go up. So this is a bold statement, I think, but like the website of like yesterday are becoming the MCPs of tomorrow, because the application layer won't be web anymore, but it will be an MCP. So I'm not sure I'm right on this, but in the world of tomorrow, let's say everyone uses ChatGPT. I mean, I would love everyone to use Gemini, but that's another problem. Like, you won't need to actually use a website anymore. So you will just need to actually connect to an MCP to connect to another server, but you don't need a UI anymore.
Does this mean that HTML protocol will fade away, maybe?
We don't fade away because it's really a nice protocol, but maybe it will be less used, yeah. Maybe in the end, you will have either agent to agents that are just sending, JSON, but it can be in the future just like the user.
Do you think that they will be sending JSON? What about if they start sending bytes,
Yeah, you remember me that video of like 2 robots talking between each other doing beep, beep, beep. I mean, what do I mean? It's just, you won't need that much UI. Like, you do not need a UI. You do not need to go on Bloomberg. You don't need, because if you use the Bloomberg MCP, you get the information that you want in your LLM already. So I think the UI right now is like fading a little bit. You will maybe have generated UI by LLM, but I don't think you will need that much anymore, like be referred to a website. I think it's a full paradigm change.
Yeah, there's also a question, are these protocols like HTTP, HTTPS, are they going to stay, or are we going to go through something more closer to WebSockets? Maybe the whole web will flip.
Yeah. I mean, MCP, as you said, I know Google is trying to push a agent to agent. I don't know if it will win, but new protocols, definitely.
Yeah. Talking about Google. Google dropped Alpha Eval. It's developed by DeepMind. This AI agent built on Gemini 2.0 optimizes algorithms for data center management and chip design, outperforming human-made solutions. It uses evolutionary approach to generate and evaluate solutions, improving efficiency in tasks like matrix multiplication. I think, Emric, you know a bit more about this one than I do.
So
Tell us a bit more about this Alpha Evolve. What is going on here?
Yeah. So disclaimer, I don't know. I mean, I cannot disclose publicly if I know more. I know I can only disclose the blog post, but the idea is, I think it was 2016. I'm not sure about the date, but there was something called AlphaGo. And the thing was just, they were able to beat a Go player that was the best person. And Go is known to be a board game that is really hard to beat because there's so much possibilities. And at the time, they really had a breakthrough by allowing the algorithm to play against each other and using, for the first time, I think, successfully, reinforcement learning. So you're just doing reinforcement learning and like you're running a bunch of simulations. So it was used. AlphaGo was nice and everything, but it just creates a really good AI at playing Go. And it was left into the cellar for some time. We never heard of reinforcement learning until recently with DeepSeek. The DeepSeek paper arrives, and for the post-training of LLM models, we see that reinforcement learning and like recursively having the LLM trying to create simulation against himself pretty much works and actually allow for a better performance. So this is the next breakthrough. And I think here, this is actually really great. DeepMind tried to run this exact same thing that DeepSeek has done. I mean, DeepSeek did not invented it. Like reinforcement learning was more theorized by DeepMind, but they used it to actually run multiple times, like sort of experiments, hypotheses about how to fix a problem. And if you let the LLM run long enough, you can actually find new solution. Because the same way when the reinforcement learning was playing Go, sometimes the AI was doing weird moves. And it was doing weird moves because it was completely unexpected to the human. And the breakthrough that they were able to do is, I'm not sure about the algorithm, but instead of doing 67 multiplication, they're doing 66 now. And it doesn't look like a big deal, but it was it was a problem that was not improved until 50 years ago. So it's actually improving science and like pure IT science and like how to improve complex systems. So I think it's really an exciting time to be alive.
Do accelerate. And when you say that we're solving things that things that have 50 years of history that are now being moved is pretty impressive, actually. I think a lot of people from the past would have wanted to be alive today to see all of this advancement and to see what they would discover if they had our capacity, our capability. And you know what? We're going to be far gone when a lot of people are going to say the same about us if they had the tools that we have. It's we really don't know where we're going, but I really feel like I'm in a just an inflection point here in human times. We were just saying to Emmerich before why do I never get depressed? Well, I don't have the time, guys.
There's too much new, exciting stuff. The moment you go down, you look at the news, you're like, wow!
Guys, I have a remedy to depression. I will share it in the comments. You take Grok and then you put in this prompt. The prompt is, give me the latest in AI models, products, and news. It includes all types of modality, photos, video, text, code, agents, etc. for the last week. If you do that every week, it's like taking pills. The depression goes away. You just don't have the time.
And what if it gives you Fellow.ai? Does it cure your depression?
That happened last week, and I can tell you that we were close to jumping back into a depressive phase.
Are you daily driving Fellow now?
I haven't used Philou, but to be honest, we tagged Philou in X, and I was waiting for their closed beta to open up to the reviewers. And unfortunately, we did not get an invitation to try Philou, so
we're not big enough. We will try next time.
We don't have the insights, my friends. I'm sorry. No Philou demo. One more coding agent news. Windsurf. You remember Windsurf, guys? SWE model. Open source software engineering model. Trained on GitHub scale data. Released last week, aimed at enhancing coding workflows. This one's an interesting one. Do you know the specs on this one, Emmerich?
No, I haven't, but nowadays, every time an LLM comes out, you have the benchmarks, and the benchmarks says a story. But I think, and it's really weird right now, we live in a really weird time, often it's your vibe benchmark that will be more useful. Like, try the model and see if it vibes with you. And it's really it's really hard to explain. But like, if you look on Reddit, often when there is a new release, you will see really fast if it's really good or not, if it's actually moving the life of people. I think the last time a new model actually moved the life of people and people were liking, and it's also because it was free. It was Gemini 2.5. Okay, it's because I'm working at Google. I'm shilling for the Gemini. But as an example, the last O4 Mini, the last O3, people are not talking that much about it. So I think the improvement has been really incremental. And about SWE 1 now, about Windsurf, I've read so many good things about it. I swear, I don't know exactly what is happening here, but I've read a lot of things about this model. Maybe is it because it's like an OpenAI model behind? I don't know. But if you look around, nobody's actually mad about SWE 1. People are really happy about it. So I should really spend more time to try it.
It's something that I want to try. Unfortunately, it's on the other side of the bridge. For me, it's on the Codium Windsurf territory. I'm a cursor guy, at least until my payment of the year 2025 is over. Maybe I'll try things after that. But now that they're backed by OpenAI, it would be interesting to see who wins this war. I don't know, man. I'm looking at their website. It's super, super interesting here. It looks like the branding from OpenAI did step over into Windsurf Wave 9? What the hell is this? Wave 9? I'm reading this on the website. Windsurf Wave 9, SWE 1. What is it with the naming? Whenever OpenAI comes in, the naming is just, okay, let's just call it, like, I don't know, Wave 26. Don't ask what happened before. What the hell is Wave 9? I'm sorry if everybody knows here. But was there a Wave 8?
I do think nobody cared about it at the time.
Oh my God.
Because we have to remind that Windsurf is mostly a wrapper, and I highly doubt that they have like a research team behind. So it's mostly it's because they were bought by OpenAI at that point.
Actually, I'm very sorry to all of the guys at Windsurf. I just went on the blog and I went all the way down and I see Windsurf Wave 8. Which launched May 7. So I guess a wave happens every 10 days. What? What is going on here?
But you know how it works? The model in production in big companies, it's basically just a model and you have a checkpoint at some point. Like you're training your model and then you are freezing the actual model and it's called a checkpoint. And then this checkpoint, you are fine-tuning it and you're improving it. And that's pretty much what's happening here. So they just have a checkpoint from, I don't know. And then they try to improve it. They look at the evals. It's good. Let's just publish the checkpoint 2. So in the end, it's just the same. It is the same model. It's just they added some fine tuning. And there is, I think, for Wave 8, Wave 9, and it fits every week, it's always the same model. It's just like slightly improved with post-training.
Have you seen any benchmarks for this SWE 1?
No, I actually, I see right now, I have one in front of my face, and it looks like it's in line with Claude 3.5.
I saw that. I find that to be interesting, to be honest. That means it's good. That means it's really good.
But again,
And
it's
I
just
don't
a
know
benchmark.
how can they get to that point? If you still think that there's no research team, wow, that's impressive.
So if you look right now at the benchmark, you see that SWE1 is barely over DeepSeek V3. DeepSeek V3 is an open weight model. You can fine-tune DeepSeek V3. So now think probably what's happening. They probably just take a DeepSeek and fine-tuning it. And now that they are bought by OpenAI, they probably use the OpenAI models. I think that's it.
That's maybe the case. Who knows really what's happening behind the doors of these big AI companies? I can tell you though that I think that it's more the second one. I think it's more OpenAI now.
Absolutely, yeah.
They
And
probably
I think
recycled
it was
something.
OpenAI for some time. I think it was actually OpenAI for some time, because if you think about it, OpenAI probably provided for free the models to like make Windsurf a better case to acquisition, blah blah blah. I don't.
If you get a letter at your front door tomorrow saying, you know, you gotta leave the country because you just shed some secrets on some it's some corporate secrets that that they have, that these OpenAI guys are coming to every rapper and saying, you know what, we'll give you everything for free. We own you now. Be careful. Be careful. You're accusing OpenAI of owning everybody that they, you know, it's a monopoly. That's monopoly style expansion right there. But it's smart. It's definitely smart. Yeah. I mean, the only reason I'm saying that is like they've been known to be pretty sketchy. The OpenAI folks, the way they approach other companies, I don't know how that goes, but I think it's one of those Facebook. Oh, you don't want that? What, you don't want to be bought for 1 billion? Fine, we'll just put 1 billion of R&D into it, and then we'll just crush you.
But I do think for the defense of OpenAI, I think if they were just open sourcing everything, they would not be OpenAI. I think they would be like the old OpenAI, like the jokers playing behind. I actually think at some point they had to go private to have a competitive advantage. I think it's not that stupid.
No, but I'm not shitting on OpenAI. I really find that their models are useful. It's mostly their UI that I find useful. I was actually telling Amric the other day that I'm really tempted to get a Anthropic plan, because the UI has actually gotten a bit better on Anthropic side, and the integrations are pretty good. The model feels faster. When you're using Sonnet, it feels really fast. You can just plug in your Google Docs and start. Oh, also one thing I just wanted to say, Emmerich, I feel like Sonnet gets the job done all the way. You can ask Sonnet to write entire pieces, and it will not stop short. I'm really scared with OpenAI models. I'm scared that they stop short. You say, can you make this document like this, and then it just removes parts just so that you can say in that output window, which I find to be like, especially if your task is really small, like make this a markdown. That's a very small task. Asking you to touch any of the code, just make small modifications. I don't feel confident with OpenAI's models.
I see where you're going with this issue. But usually I saw myself seeing this as a non-issue, because you can actually ask the model to continue. Like you can just ask the model to continue where they stopped, and that works. Isn't it the case for you as well?
No, it tells me it's done, and it removes a lot of things, and
I see.
it's just slow, and it's the confidence that it didn't touch things up is low. Yeah.
Okay. So you think basically that Anthropic is better as instruction following, if I understand correctly?
Yes, and it gets the job done. It's not lazy. It can actually output lots of things.
Yeah. I think OpenAI for some time did agentify a little bit their models to like save money. I don't know how it is right now. It's funny because for pure coding, I'm not using much more than, because I'm working at Google, so I'm using a lot of Gemini. But for coding outside of Google, I'm using basically Cursor for everything. So I'm never actually like typing question about code in either OpenAI or Cursor anymore. So it's funny, but it's removed completely out of my use cases.
We'll see if I go for it. I'll tell you guys if I get a Anthropic, and I'll give everybody a review of the Anthropic experience.
I'd be curious.
Some extra news here from Google. We have Imagine 4, which launched recently, as well as VO3. VO3 is a brand new video model that allows you to generate not only video, but audio as well. And what I am seeing here is that it is super difficult to differentiate an AI video to a filmed video here. It is pretty spot on. Do you feel the same way, Eric?
Yeah, I think VO3 is the breakthrough of the Google I/O this year. I think we just passed another step of like a pure multimodal model that is able to not only process video but sound at the same time and make it coherent. And actually, if you look at the examples online, you actually find it pretty good. Like, it's not perfect yet. Sometimes you have some artifacts around the sound, but oh my god. I remember I shared you this video of like you have homeless people camping on top of bus. I think it's like in Seattle or something. And the video, if you look at it just without putting too much attention, you're like, oh, these poor homeless people, they have nowhere to go. It was a fucking AI generated video. And I think if now, in addition, you add sound, my god, you can like, spread so much fake news. About that, I know Google is trying to put something like a technology called SynthID that is actually allowing to make sure the video are fake for a lot of systems. So it will be, I think, easy in the future to know if something is AI generated. But for your grandmother, or even your father or your mother, like they receive this and they will ask you what is happening. I don't know. This is a breakthrough because I think if the AI continue to improve, I have really this bet that the Hollywood V2 in the future will be fully AI generated. I don't think you will need pretty much that much studios. You don't need the Warner Bros. Studios anymore. You can just like have it for like almost free with an AI generation. The imagination and everything that we can do will be vastly improved.
I think this unlocks a lot of new possibilities for creators. It was a super difficult thing to generate video and then consistent audio. It would always be a bit off because I don't know, it would never match the video, and you could tell at some point that the vocals were only focused on vocals, or it just didn't seem that realistic. So it was hard to generate a realistic AI video.
Because it's true. Like, how does the AI knows except if you say to it? So you can prompt, let's say, an audio model, and the audio model will try like to match. But it's really hard to know when it needs to talk, or even the tone of the character, the amount of characters, what they need to say. So the fact that it's added in like a multimodal space, it's actually a revolution, I think.
And so I think that goes without saying that it was just difficult for any creator to get their foot in the door on this one, and now it seems like it's accessible. So again, if you thought that you were late, this is a good entry point for you. A lot of people are already out of the door. There were probably a lot of people that were optimizing prompts for generating audio that follows video, and now it's over. And now we're in a new era where audio is generated, cooked into the video. I don't know if it's cooked, but
so with that, Google released a new tool. This tool is called AI Flow. To be able to use VO3 plus AI Flow, you need to pay $250 a month. So it's not for everyone, I guess. Not for a cheapo like me.
It's as much as rent in Thailand.
Exactly. or even a salary, I don't know, in Venezuela. Uh,
No,
and
Venezuela goes down to $1. They have.
okay, that's why I'm laughing. But what I mean is, I think right now you can make two scenes with VO3 quite consistent. So if you created a character on the first scene and you ask it to a different angle in the scene too, I think with Flow you're able to create it. So you can create stories, you can create YouTube videos, you can create shorts, like short stories. I don't know, like the imagination is your limit. I don't know how good the tool is, but if it's really good, I think it could like replace in some sense like something like Adobe Premiere, After Effects. It's like replacing a bunch of the industry right away.
Yeah, I think that again, the changes will happen in the hybrid model where you film something, you go out and film something, and then instead of spending 4 hours on an effect, you put it, and then you just add a little prompt that has a low temperature to it, so it doesn't change too much the video. It just adds that effect or the filter or whatever you need. And I
Like
think
the
that that could be the
thumbnails,
future.
like the our shorts.
Oh yeah. Guys, you need if you haven't seen, if you're from YouTube and you haven't seen our Instagram, there is a funny thing that we've been using for our thumbnails. So if you go and check it out, we have a lot of clickbait looking thumbnails that were generated with prompts. So go check out our Insta, of course.
Thank you.
And if you see weird guys in your feed, weird faces trying to get clicks and views, that might just be us.
It's funny because it's literally not our faces anymore, but it makes me laugh so much. Sometimes it's cringe, but I think it's worth trying. It's worth trying. We are early adopters.
Well, that said, I did want to tell everybody here that we are active on both YouTube, Spotify, and our shorts are published on Instagram and YouTube Shorts. We're arriving on TikTok very soon as well. The Reels are the best moments of our podcasts. And if that interests anybody to come and listen to our deeper view and news on AI, then you can come over and watch and listen to one of our podcasts here on Spotify or on YouTube. So go check it out. We are multi-platform. We're here every week. We're here every day on the real side. So go check out our Insta. That said, it is coming to an end here in terms of news. This week was packed, and we gave our best shot at covering the most interesting of news. I did see a few uninteresting things here that Notion AI, not to shit on them, but who gives a damn. ChatGPT 4.0 with PDF. I thought PDF was already out, and by the way, it sucks really bad. Like Emmerich, it's like it's like a failure. It's so bad.
What do you mean? Using LLMs with PDFs?
Yeah, no. ChatGPT generating PDFs is absolute trash. Like,
Oh, wow.
shit. Things like Azure AI Foundry, these things, they went through the sieve, but we cannot cover everything. If there's one subject that we like to do is coding, and I guess we do drop off into the video space quite often. So this week was a great episode. I was really happy to cover it all. And Emmerich, any last thoughts on this week's news in AI and your outcome on next week's optimism?
I told you before we start that I wasn't sure we had that much things to cover, but actually this was amazing. There was so much things. I'm sure next week we will have a lot of things as well.
Can't wait for next week. I think that we're back again. We had a little slowdown last week, but AI is back, my friends. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for staying on with us, and we'll see you next week.